How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, to recap last night's game between the Seattle Mariners and the New York Yankees. The Yankees have now won 2 in a row. Look at that, stringing together a winning streak here. Now, if they win tonight, then it really will be a winning streak. But it's the first time in a while that the Yankees have won back-to-back games. They've done a lot of losing as of late. But this was a very good win last night, an all-around great win for the New York Yankees. Great pitching, great hitting, and some pretty good defense last night, too, with having guys back at their natural spots. So we'll get into that as well. But it didn't get off to a good start because the Yankees were going up against Logan Gilbert last night of the Seattle Mariners, and he was having his way with the Yankees early on. He retired the first 11 batters before Cody Bellinger came up and hit a single out to right field, and now that extended his hitting streak. Bellinger has been on a tear as of late, but it wasn't looking good in the beginning. I will say, though, they put Dominguez back at the leadoff spot, and he was really grinding out this at-bat. He was really making Logan Gilbert work. It was a 10-pitch at-bat, and he ended up flying out to center field. The Yankees did fly out a couple of times, and you thought, all right, at some point they're going to maybe get to him. But I was getting a little nervous because now the Yankees are facing some good pitching here, and the offense wasn't getting it done through the first 4 innings. And Will Warren was on the mound for the Yankees, and he put together a very good performance. He went 5 2/3 innings, 4 strikeouts, 4 hits, a couple of walks. But I think what really helped the Yankees out last night was the rain delay. There was a 35-minute rain delay. Now, it came at a bad time because there were runners at the corners with 2 outs, and I was hoping that they would at least let the game go through the top of the 5th inning and then put the tarp on the field. But that didn't happen. So it was about a 35-minute rain delay. Will Warren came back out to pitch, and, how was he going to be? And he ended up throwing 1 pitch and getting out of the inning. So that ended up working out well there. But for Logan Gilbert, the rain delay really affected him because he was not the same pitcher after the rain delay. There was a lot of traffic on the bases, and the ball started leaving the yard. In the bottom of the 5th inning, the Yankees, they scratched across their first run of the game with Oswald Peraza, hit a little chopper to the right side that ended up being bobbled. That allowed a run to score, and that was the Yankees' first run of the game. Goldschmidt singled and Wells walked. Volpe ended up hitting into a force out. Thankfully, it wasn't a double play. That was huge. But yeah, Peraza, it ended up being a single. It should have been an error, but that opened up the Yankees scoring, and that made it 1-0. So Tim Hill came on to replace Will Warren in the top of the 6th after he got himself into a little bit of trouble, and he was able to get out of it. I got a little nervous because Donovan Solano was the pinch hitter for Luke Raley, and he hit a ball hard out to center field, but Cody Bellinger caught it. I thought it was going to go over his head, and then the Yankees were going to be losing at that point because there were a couple runners on. A couple of walks. Cal Riley walked and Jorge Polanco walked. But then Yankees opened it up in the bottom of the 6th. You had 3 straight hits. You had an Aaron Judge single, Cody Bellinger singled, and then the big blow off the bat of Big G, Giancarlo Stanton, his 2nd homer of the season to right field. And that made it 4-0 Yankees. And you had to feel pretty good. But obviously, when it comes to the Yankees pitching as of late, no game is ever over. Then Jazz Chisholm walked. He got caught stealing. And then Paul Goldschmidt doubled after that. Goldschmidt is starting to come around, which is good. And then after that, Austin Wells, he homers in his 3rd consecutive game, his 14th homer of the season. That made it 6-0. Mariners couldn't scratch anything across in the top of the 7th. And then in the bottom of the 7th, Aaron Judge, 34th homer of the season, 2nd consecutive game with the homer to make it 7-0. Jazz Chisholm tacked on a couple of runs, a double. Actually, no, only 1 run. That scored Bellinger. He singled again. Stanton singled. And then a Goldschmidt singled. That scored a couple of runs. That scored Stanton and Jazz. So that made it 10-0. And then the Yankees put in Jeff Hartlieb. He didn't have it. Gave up a few hits. A hit to J.P. Crawford, a single. Julio Rodriguez, double that scored the Mariners' first run of the game. And then Cal Riley, who is leading the majors in home runs. He hits a missile into the second deck to make it 10-3. Yankees at that point. The Yankees did replace Hartlieb with Ian Hamilton. He was able to get out of it. But This is the thing that annoys me a little bit. Even though, yes, the Yankees, won by a lot, you want somebody to come in and not, allow a team to think, oh, let's try to pull off a comeback here. Not saying that was ever going to happen, but I want somebody to come in during mop-up time and coast through it. It's like, guy couldn't get out of the inning. But they did designate him for assignment to make room for Cam Schlittler. But this is what the Yankees are dealing with right now. But yes, Cal Riley homered, so he matched Judge last night, so now it's 36-34. This is one of the more fascinating things about this Major League season, is the home run race between Cal Riley and Aaron Judge. And I think Aaron Judge is eventually going to pass Cal Riley, but he's not letting up. But it is setting up to be a very good home run race as we move along in the season here. I think Judge is eventually going to pass him, but only time will tell. Got to give Cal Riley the respect that he deserves because he is having a very good season for the Mariners. And, he's not going to go down quietly. So we'll see how that shapes out. But I'm excited. That's something to invest yourselves in, is the home run race. So that ended up being the final score. Yankees didn't do anything in the bottom of the 8th. And in the top of the 9th, Scott Efros came in, and he was able to get the job done in the 9th. But, the offense, 13 hits yesterday. Judge had a couple of hits in the home run. Cody Bellinger, 3 for 4. Stanton, 2 for 4 with the 3-run homer. Goldschmidt had 3 hits. Jazz had the double. Austin Wells homered in 3 consecutive games. With Austin Wells, look, the batting average is .221. You want to see that be a little bit higher, but you look at his overall body of work. 14 home runs, 50 RBIs, 743 OPS. I mean, he's driving in runs. The ball's leaving the yard. Maybe he's starting to come around, though, because in his last 7 games, he's 6 for 22. He's got 3 homers and 6 RBIs. Maybe the bat is starting to come around. I know some people on social media are kind of focusing on his stance. He kind of has a more open stance now, so maybe he found something. But if they could get Austin Wells going, that would be a huge plus. And you look at the Yankees lineup, I mean, this is a good lineup. I mean, if Wells starts hitting, you could live with the bottom of the order. Volpe right now is still not producing, and Peraza. But that top 7, Dominguez, Judge, Bellinger, Stanton, Chisholm, Goldschmidt, and Wells, I mean, that's pretty good. So, like I said, you could live with the bottom of the order not producing as long as you got the guys at the top doing their thing. Dominguez was 0 for 5 yesterday with a couple of strikeouts, but hey, he's been doing well as of late. If he's playing tonight, hopefully, he gets the bat going once again. But I feel like he's going to be out. I don't know if the lineup is out yet. I'll have to look. But other than Hartley, the bullpen did its job. Tim Hill, an inning and a third, scoreless. Ian Hamilton, 2/3 of an inning. And Efros. Listen, Efros was a key piece in the 2022 trade deadline, and he's really been trying to work his way back and trying to find a role on this team because he's been dealing with a lot of injuries over the course of these last couple of seasons. But you know what? Maybe he could be an effective arm in this bullpen, and they're going to need him because now the Yankees suffered another injury with Mark Leiter Jr. going on the IL. With a stress fracture in his leg, and this happened on the play with Ellie De La Cruz when he was racing to the bag to get him out. And yeah, that's been bothering him, and for some reason, there was nothing done about it until now. They didn't. I was surprised he wasn't on the IL, before yesterday, but that didn't happen. So, another curious handling of a situation with an injured player this year, with Leiter and Jazz, and I know their reasoning behind Clark Schmidt, because obviously, if you're constantly testing somebody, you're gonna, have a line out the door, whatever whatever was said, but. Yeah, it's weird. The way the Yankees medical staff sometimes handles things is very odd. And you go back to with Anthony Rizzo, and the concussion. So, but yeah, yet another pitcher is on the IL for the Yankees. Now it's Mark Leiter Jr. So maybe that's the reason why he wasn't pitching good, is because of that. So, but that was an overall great win for the Yankees. And you already saw the moves that they made defensively, putting Jazz back at second, Peraza at third. Jazz had a good play early on in the game. John Boy Media put out a video comparison between LeMahieu and Jazz, a play that LeMahieu missed that Jazz probably would have made, a side-by-side comparison, and showing the play that Jazz made last night. DJ LeMahieu just has no range, anymore. And Peraza, look, the guy really can't hit, but he can really pick it over at third base. He made a couple of good plays over there last night, one in foul territory and then one that was hit to the left side of the infield to him. But the Yankees need to tighten up their defense, all right? And Aaron Boone said that DJ didn't really take it that well. Well, look, the Yankees got to win games. And part of the reason why they went on this skid was because their defense was not doing well. Having Jazz playing at third and LeMahieu at second, it just wasn't working. So you really have tightened up your defense. Now, yes, LeMahieu maybe with the bat was doing a little bit better than Peraza, but I think you're going to sacrifice the hitting for the defense. And you know what? Maybe if Peraza's in the lineup every single day, maybe the bat will come around. Maybe. I don't think so. But Peraza has done well over at third base. Jazz back at his normal spot at second. So, and now Volpe, maybe the defense will come around for him, and then, you're back to having a solid infield. But, LeMahieu, look, it looks like he might get phased out. Right now he's being relegated to a bench bat, a bat off the bench. So, I don't blame him for not being happy about it. But, look, Yankees got to make tough decisions. All right? You can't, be like, oh, you know what, we got to play DJ. He's done a lot for us. No. Got to win games. We got to win games. And especially now where you have the Blue Jays who just don't lose. I think, what are they at now? 10 straight they've won? Going on 11 straight. They're winning right now as we speak. You got to keep the pace with them. The Rays lost, so the Yankees now are in sole possession at second place. So to that Met fan that was chirping as we were leaving the stadium, or as we were leaving our seats to get out of Citi Field, we're in second. And how about the Mets? They had a big win last night, too, a big comeback win against the Orioles last night. So that helped the Yankees out, keep the Orioles at bay in last place. Yeah, talk about a disaster of a season. Although the Orioles have played a little bit better, but it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere. Unless they really go on a run. The Yankees are in sole possession of second place. And you know what? They just got to keep to it. Will Warren really stepped up last night. He pitched well against the Mariners earlier in the season, so they really needed him to, really to come out and shove because, especially with Clark Schmidt now going down. And let's see what we get out of Cam Schlittler tonight. He's pitched well in the minor leagues. He got lit up in his last start. But, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he has, and hopefully he could be somebody for the Yankees. Not just in the future, but in the present, because the Yankees really need it, And Luis Gil is beginning his rehab assignment. We're not going to see him for some time, but at least he's on his way back, and hopefully he could be somebody this year. I don't want to give up on this year. I know there's some Yankee fans that are mailing it in. I'm not going to give up. I might know how this season could potentially end, but you never know. You never know with this team. Like I said, the top 7 in this lineup is pretty good when everybody's clicking, and if they could stabilize the bullpen, you could stabilize the rotation. I mean, this team is going to be dangerous. We just got to stick with them. So, but an overall great game last night. Really no complaints other than, the lack of mop-up pitchers with Jeff Hartlieb. But that's just really a minor complaint. There was never really a doubt with the Yankees when they were up 10-0. And the rain delay helped us out. In the past, the Yankees have had rain delays not go in their favor. But this one definitely did. And I think back to the rain delay from, the 2 rain delays from 2021 against the Angels, when they eventually lost that game in the 9th inning. That didn't go in the Yankees' favor. But this one did. So Yankees have won 2 in a row. They go for the series win tonight with Cam Schlittler on the mound, and let's double check just to see if the lineup has been released yet, because this is around the time it does get released. So let's see. So we do have a lineup. Jason Dominguez once again will be leading off. Aaron Judge batting second and right field. Cody Bellinger in center. Giancarlo Stanton DHing. Jazz Chisholm at second base. Paul Goldschmidt will be batting sixth at first. Austin Wells behind the plate batting seventh. Anthony Volpe, the shortstop, batting eighth. Oswald Peraza, the third baseman, will be batting ninth. So how about this, everybody? Consistency. We got the same lineup from yesterday tonight. How about that? How about that? Maybe the Yankees really are changing their ways. That's awesome. Same lineup as last night tonight. Love it. Love it. And I think Dominguez is really going to settle in because, he had the 2 home runs against the Mets on the 4th of July leading off. That 10-pitch at-bat against Gilbert last night didn't result in it resulted in a flyout, but still. That's got to be the Yankees' leadoff hitter. So Jason Dominguez continue to lead off. And I feel bad for Trent Grisham because he's been playing so well, but this needs to be the Yankees' everyday lineup going forward. Now, you could give guys like Goldschmidt and Stanton a day, but this is what the lineup should be. This is what the lineup should be. And like I said, you will sacrifice DJ LeMahieu's bat for Oswald Peraza's glove. We need to tighten up that defense, and it looked good last night. So Yankees go for the series win tonight. Cam Schlittler will be making his Major League debut. Let's go Yankees. And as always, everybody, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the video. Subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate it. And wherever you get your podcasts, you can also listen to us as well. So as always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off. Have a good one, everybody, and I will talk to you guys next time. Take care.